instead of living in a world of just possibilities of what we want, instead of even living in the world of probabilities of knowing who we can help and who can help us, we can now have the perspective of divine direction of where we think we want to be or better. And all detours, pain is just now an indicator. We're now living in a world of being given by protecting, promoting, and loving us and perfecting us.
Since 1981, Justin has been producing world-class Bordeaux-style wines from Paso Robles on California's Central Coast. As the pioneer of Paso, Justin wines are what put Paso Robles on the winemaking map. The Justin team believes that wine should be exceptional from every angle, which is why their team uses boutique winemaking practices like hand harvesting and hand sorting. With a rich history of accolades, Justin produces exceptional wines and is proud to be America's #1 luxury Cabernet. Whether you're the first-time wine drinker or a wine aficionado, Justin has a wine for every celebration and occasion. Visit justinwine.com and enter promo code Playbook20 for 20% off your order. Justin offers the perfect holiday gifts for clients, colleagues, friends, or family. Be sure to check them out at justinwine.com to receive 20% off your order for a limited time and use the promo code Playbook20.
Well, I thought I'd talk about something that I learned from Napoleon Hill. And it's the idea of how do we materialize and monetize the abundance in our lives. So many of us live like tubes, and excuse the graphics, but it's food in, food out. They live in the world of nothingness. I believe in Outwitting the Devil, they call them drifters, but in the world of nothingness, most people exist. And what I want to talk today about is how do we make the advancements, the mathematical advancement to a reality within the context of a divine direction, allowing all the details that are omnipresent in our lives, the setbacks, failures, mistakes, shortages, voids, and obstacles that are omnipresent. How do we make those divine detours and allow for the counterintuitive nature of human experience to exist within the context of divine time? And so the first step to take the nothingness, living like a tube, food in and food out, to its first advancement, how do we make the nothingness a possibility? And the way that we make nothingness a possibility is to understand what it is that we want today. What is it we want today personally today? What is it we want experientially today? What is it that we want giving or productivity wise today? And the most difficult, what is it we want to receive today? And in this infinite loop of abundance, of knowing what we want personally, experientially, giving and receiving wise, within the reality of the day, the circumstances of the day, you see, most people don't even think about what they want, but yet alone put it into the context of the circumstances of the day, the weather, the interest rates, the in laws, the flat tires, whatever it is that exists today, and those circumstances of today. And if we know what we want personally, experientially, giving and receiving wise, within the context of the circumstances of the day, we then can expand what limits us each and every day in the 24 hours that we're guaranteed every single day. The only common denominator of all human experience is the 24 hours of the day, the time that a particle of light leaves the sun and hits the earth, which dictates everybody's human experience, the 24 hours that you're guaranteed every single day of your life, except for the last day. You'll be cheated seconds, minutes, maybe even hours. But when you know what you want personally, experientially, giving and receiving in the context of the circumstances of the day, we can start to expand the limitations of the day, which are two things. Number one, the meaning of our past. You see, even for those people that know what they want each day and the circumstances of the day, they limit themselves by not aligning the meaning of the past, the light, the love, and the lessons, the forgiveness in the past, the accountability of the past, of saying, what did I do in the past to be responsible or attract this to myself, or even participate in a perception of some failure, setback, and mistake, and then align the meaning of the past, these failure, setbacks, mistakes, defining moments, historical relevances with my divine direction. So the number one limitation in which we want to expand is the meaning of the past. You will never overachieve the meaning you give your past. You must align the meaning of the past with the divine direction, to make all detours divine and allow for divine time to reveal, to give you the revelations of the truth. The second limitations of knowing your what, which also allows to expand, is beyond knowing what we want personally, experientially, giving and receiving in the context of the circumstances of the day, aligning the meaning of the path, the failure, setbacks, mistakes, defining moments, historical relevances of the past in my divine direction, is our own imagination. We limit ourselves with our imagination because we will never overachieve what we dream of. We will never overachieve our own self image derived by the imagination. And so, in the context of most people living in nothingness, they don't know their what. They certainly don't know what they want personally, experientially, giving and receiving in the context of the circumstances of the day. But even for those who do, they end up limiting themselves by focusing in on what they don't want, what's missing, what they don't have, or other people that what they don't want from their past. So align the meaning of the past, find the light, the love, and the lessons, forgive yourself into a divine direction, making all detours divine and allowing for divine time to fulfill your self image, because you'll never overachieve your own self image. And I promise you, there's a mathematical advantage and advancement in your life, because if you know your what in this context, you will go from nothingness to a possibility, a mathematical advantage each and every day in the 24 hours of your day. So know your what and make possibilities occur every single day, which inherent will derive more wisdom and more faith, more hope of that possibility. Now, the second step to take us from nothingness to possibility, possibility to probability, you must know your who. You see, my prayer every morning is very simple. May God put at least 10 people in front of me that I can help each day, but also may He put 10 people in front of me that I can help. You see, if you know your who, all your possibilities become probabilities, because the fastest way to get what you want is to find someone that has it and ask them for directions, or help someone else get what they want. When you know your who you can help and who can help you, all of the possibilities of what you want personally, experientially, giving and receiving wise become probabilities, a mathematical advancement, an advantage every single day from the nothingness of living like a tube, food in and food out. Know your probabilities by knowing your who you can help and who can help you. But there's still more to advance in the realm of thinking and grow rich, in the realm of Napoleon Hill, and understanding that perspective of the consistent, persistent pursuit of your potential, what you want, not what's missing, what you don't have. Don't have FOPO, the fear of other people's opinion. Live in JOPO, the joy of other people's opinion. Learn to appreciate everyone and what they want and help them get there, as well as ask them for help. Build a community of people that want to help each other and know people that can help each other. A community, one like the Napoleon Hill community that we are building. And as we have all of these probabilities in our lives, how do we make that probability advance even further into our perspective? Know your how. Know your how. How am I going to get this done today according to the circumstances of today? How am I going to utilize my 24 hours today in order to effectuate the progress that I want? Progress differs for everyone. Good progress is different for everyone. Bad progress is different for everyone. It's determined by what we want and who we can help and who can help us. And so knowing that good progress is only created with one thing, good behavior. Good behavior aligned with where we want to be or better is going to create the perspective of the progress of where we want to be or better, that divine direction, allowing all detours to become divine and speeding up the divine time, our perspective. And knowing our how are we going to utilize our behaviors each day requires us to put it within the context of 24 hours and the circumstances of today. In order to do so, to know our how, we must know our non-negotiables and assign time to the non-negotiables in our lives. Because time and money are energy, and energy has three characteristics. One, it aggregates, it attracts more of its like energy. Two, it accelerates, which is such a blessing because there's only one speed of progress, only one speed of progress, not fast enough. And so if we can speed up the speed of progress, which is not fast enough, it appeases our human nature and gives us more confidence and more faith, more comfortable ease in what we're doing, and dissipates the dis-ease by knowing how we're going to utilize the 24 hours in the circumstances of the day, deriving the meaning of the past and aligning in our divine direction with a great self-image or imagination. We must know our non-negotiables of what I'm committed to do every single day, because it's not the mistakes in the day that's going to make us fail. It's the lack of commitment. And having non-negotiables in our lives that we're committed to consistently every day, 7 days a week, persistently without quit, the lack of commitment in the pursuit of our divine direction or better, of what we think. Knowing we'll never overachieve what we think, we'll never overachieve our imagination, we'll never overachieve our own self-image. So knowing our how by creating non-negotiables and assigning man-made constructive time to create a better human experience with more good behaviors that create good progress into the divine direction of where we want to be or better. So I assign time to the non-negotiables. Number one non-negotiable in my life, my health. Because if I'm healthy, I get as many wishes as I want. It strengthens my faith every day to have more hope and more wishes. But if I'm unhealthy, I'll only have one wish. And so I assign a minimum of an hour a day on my health, a minimum of 30 minutes with my wife, a minimum of 30 minutes with my 14-year-old son, a minimum of 2 minutes with each of my daughters who are 25, 23, and 20. I asked for 5. They gave me a minimum of 2, but 2 minutes a day is worth more than 2 hours on a Saturday, because time is an energy and so is money. And it aggregates, accelerates, and compounds exponentially in its outcomes. I then assign time to studying time. I assign time to faith. Assign time to finance and research. All the most important things to me. I am committed to the consistent, persistent pursuit of my potential, and all of my non-negotiable, committed, consistent behaviors equal about 3.5 hours a day, leaving me 13.5 hours of open-eyed, awake time to do whatever I want. Because the other non-negotiable in my life is my sleep. I have a sleep coach. I believe the fastest way to get to where I want to be is to find someone that's already there and ask them for direction. So for the last almost 18 years, I've had a sleep coach to help facilitate two things of non-negotiable time for me, which is one, recovery. Everybody knows the better you recover, the better you perform. And then two, access to the information of my source, an information that is transcended through meditation in the morning to live my higher self, to create a plateau and grow strategy, not the myth of Sisyphus written in Camus' The Stranger, rolling a boulder to the top of the hill every day just to have it roll back down the next day. It is the non-negotiable 7 hours of sleep, 3.5 hours of non-negotiable prioritized committed time every single day, which leaves me 13 and a half hours to do whatever I want. And it's this variant behavior of knowing my how that appeases the human nature that hates doing things every day. Why? Because the simple things to do are simple to do, except for when you got to do them every day. And then the simple things to do become simple not to do. That's why saying thank you is so difficult to do every single day. It's not because it's expensive, it's free. It's not because it doesn't have impact, it has exponential impact. It's not because it takes a long time, it takes zero point 0.1 seconds. It's because the simple things to do are simple not to do and commit to every single day.
This show is brought to you by BetterHelp. Therapy is a great tool for facing your fears and finding ways to overcome them, because sometimes the scariest thing is not facing our fears in the first place and holding ourselves back. It's helpful for learning positive coping skills and how to set boundaries. It empowers you to be the best version of yourself. It isn't just for those who've experienced major trauma. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. Overcome your fears with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/playbook today to get a 10% off your first month. That's BetterHelp, HELP.com/playbook. Imagine starting a small business, your first customer, first hire, first real paycheck. But everything isn't just exciting, it's scary. That's where JustWorks come in, the all-in-one platform that supports small business growth. Access seamless tools that help with benefits, payroll, HR, and compliance with transparent pricing. It's time to make payroll painless. Run payroll in 90 seconds or less and automate payments so you can set it and forget it. Did you know in 2023 alone, they processed over 25.6 billion in trusted payroll customers? Don't worry about the paperwork piling up either. They take care of payroll tax documents and reporting to help you stay compliant. Visit justworks.com/podcast to join the thousands of small businesses that trust JustWorks to take care of payroll, benefits, compliance, and more. That's justworks.com/podcast.
When we understand how we're going to be productive, accessible, and gracious with our time, aligned with what we want and who we can help and who can help us, we now know our how. And instead of living in the world of nothingness, food in, food out, instead of living in a world of just possibilities of what we want personally, experientially, giving and receiving, instead of even living in the world of probabilities of knowing who we can help and who can help us, we can now have the perspective of divine direction of where we think we want to be or better. And all detours, pain is just now an indicator. We're now living in a world of being given by protecting, promoting, and loving us and perfecting us. It is knowing our how that allows us to move to a perspective of gratitude, forgiveness, accountability, and inspiration. But we still can advance more. From the possibility of knowing our what, the probability of knowing our who, and the perspective of knowing our how, we now can create a reality. And that reality is created by knowing one thing: knowing our now. This confusing term of being present, I call it, it's time for din din. Do it now, do it next. I always know what to do now and to do next. I know how to prioritize what's important to me, who I can help and who can help me, and how to get it done according to the circumstances of the day, the meaning of the past, and my imagination, my self image, my divine direction. Creating prioritization, which is the antidote. It's the antidote to procrastination and feeling overwhelmed. The two greatest causes of interference in human experience. It is impossible to feel overwhelmed. It's impossible to procrastinate if you know what's important to you, what to do now, and what to do next. It's time for Din Din. Know your now. 100% of the things that you do now get done. So it's the most statistically successful thing that you can do. Prioritization, the only requirement is to know the what, the who, and the how. Once you know the what, the who, and the how, it's easy to prioritize the now because you know what's important to you according to the circumstances of today, the meaning of the past, and your self image, your divine direction, where you want to be or better, where you think you want to be or better. It also contains the do it next, which is different than the do it now because the do it next allows you to reprioritize according to God laughing at you, the circumstances of the day. Because I will tell you this about these different advancements in our own being, possibilities, probabilities, and perspective into reality. Because once you do something now, it becomes your reality and you are present. Is that you can now reprioritize the fact that God loves loves when you come up with a well-developed plan. He loves to laugh at you. And so understanding how I reprioritize according to the negotiables and non-negotiable time and reprioritize. That's why not only do I study what's planned, I study the blank spaces in my calendar so I can reprioritize the din din. I can reprioritize those empty spaces in your calendar is like a parking place in front of Costco at noon on a Saturday. It's just waiting for you when stuff is all chaotic. It allows you to reprioritize. It's a parking place for God laughing at you. And so you study what's planned and unplanned. You study the activity you get paid for and the activity you don't get paid for. You study your sleep. And study means you pay attention to plus give intention to what you're going to do, say, think, feel, and believe, which will equal the coincidences, the coinciding of the universe into reality. It will create the results, consequences that you want or better. Now that we have a reality, we have gone from nothingness to possibility to probability to perspective and now into an actual monetizable, materializable reality. There's only one thing left: to be inspired. And so many people, even if they know the what, the who, the how, and the now, they're still searching for their why. You don't have to search for what you already have. You don't have to search for the infinite loop, the unified, abundant, infinite system of thought that you belong to. You don't have to search for something that you already have. You need to apply it. So, the last step of reality in the context of Napoleon Hill and his philosophies, theories, and spirituality is to apply your why, to live in spirit, to live inspired, to speed up the process of behavior and progress. Knowing that the normal speed of progress is not fast enough, why not aggregate, accelerate, and compound exponentially the outcomes? So, how do we apply our why? Well, there's another omnipresent and omniscient force in the world besides the uh, omniscient and all present uh, being that's bigger than you and loves you more than your mom, protects you, promotes you, and perfects you. It's fear. Fear is omnipresent, but it's going to take a lifetime to figure out what you're afraid of. So I suggest if you want to apply your why all day, if you want to spend more of the 24 hours in spirit, at ease, we must identify how we react and create dis-ease. So instead of worrying about what you're afraid of, just simply identify your reaction to fear because it's instant and obvious. When you're mad, it's instant and obvious. When you're separate, inferior, superior, anxious, frustrated, angry, guilty, resentful, or even worried, which is a duplicative and negative of interfering with your higher self and worrying and wishing for what you don't want, what I suggest you do is learn to identify the instant and obvious, your reaction to fear, because it's easy to determine the instant and obvious fire that is created mentally, physically, and spiritually when you react to fear in this manner with a need to be offended, a need to be right, separate, inferior, superior, anxious, frustrated, guilty, and resentful, etc. And so next time your mind, body, and soul's on fire, you're reacting to fear. Don't resist it. Don't go over it, under it, through it, around it. Don't lie to it, cheat it, manipulate it, or deny it. Do something much more difficult because it's not logic that will overcome emotion. It never does. It is action. And in fact, the greatest action that you can take when you're on fire is to stop. Breathe through your nose, out through your mouth. Get to center, get back to ease so you can remind, you can remember, you can recollect with something bigger than you that loves you, protects you, promotes you, and perfects you more than your mom. An omniscient and all powerful and all knowing source that will protect, promote, and protect you at all times. You see, when your mind and body and soul are on fire, you got to stop, breathe, remind, remember, recollect, and drop. Now you can roll back into what you want, who you can help and who can help you, how best to utilize man made constructive time with negotiables and non negotiables, planned, unplanned, paid for, unpaid for, and sleep. To have a perspective of gratitude, empathy, accountability, and effective communication, to prioritize and reprioritize, come to din din, do it now and do it next, stay present in a behavior, a progress towards where you want to be or better, a divine direction, translating those detours into divine detours in divine time. You can then, in that reality, live in spirit inspired by identifying not what you're afraid of, but the reaction to fear, the instant and obvious reaction to fear. Because when your mind and body and soul are on fire, I've learned from my mom not only gratitude, but when I'm on fire, you need to stop, you need to drop, and you need to roll back into the what, the who, the how, the now, and apply your why. I promise you, if you want to make a lot of money, help a lot of people, have a lot of fun. In other words, if you want to be happy, if you want to live in the world of more than enough of everything for everyone, then you got to stop living in the world of the tube, the world of nothingness, food in, food out, the myth of Sisyphus, rolling a boulder to the top of the hill just to have it roll back down. You need to plateau and grow by knowing your what, knowing your who, knowing your how, knowing your now, and applying your why every single day. Spend minutes and moments outside of your divine direction. Spend minutes and moments on the detours and make those divine. And spend minutes and moments outside of divine time, and you will make a lot of money, help a lot of people, and have a lot of fun. God bless all of you. God bless the Napoleon Hill Institute. Cleona O'Hara, thank you so much for the opportunity to be a part of this institute and this unbelievable day. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much, David. You took my breath away. I just want to say congratulations and thank you to you for joining the Napoleon Hill Institute now as our chairman. And I am beyond grateful. I thank God every day. And what you just shared today really reminds me and shows me you've become a master of this entrusted, borrowed energy from the divine. And so I look forward to learning from you more, and I look forward to working with you more.
I have already learned from you, and I look forward to learning even more. But most importantly, this is our neighborhood. Our neighborhood is a frequency. This is a community of people that want to help each other and know people that will help each other. And to be a part of such a historical relevance in this community is the most exciting thing, as you know, for me, my family. The legacy of this community needs to be amplified through the whole world. And these principles will save the world. And it is people and entrepreneurs like Napoleon Hill that have that wisdom and faith that's required in order to change the world for the better. Once again, my heart is full of gratitude and love for you and for our community. Thank you for this opportunity.